Hello, Jordan Sheridan live. Status Coup. It is, what day is today? I don't know. Thursday, April 11th, 2024, right here in the United Corporations of America. Reminder, we got that badass United Corporations of America gear in the Status Coup merch store. It's springtime now. Get your short sleeves, Status Coup. United Corporations of America. Multiple variations of that shirt in the Status Coup merchandise store, among other great items. I'll plug it again later. But go get your UCOA gear in our store. Hope everyone's having a lovely day. I have been super busy, but happy to be live. I kind of have a folder where I save clips that I want to address. And there's a couple of clips I want to get to. Unfortunately, they're from Morning Joe. But for better or worse, Morning Joe, MSNBC's limousine liberal cocktail hour in the morning, is really, I think, a true measurement of the corporate liberal Democratic Party mindset, which at the moment I believe is so delusional that they are ushering in a second Trump presidency and actual potential fascism in America. So we're going to address some clips from Morning Joe, and then I'm going to take your phone calls again because I enjoyed it so much on Monday, and I want to, start taking calls more often. If you hear anything that sounds like a Kentucky Derby, that would be my daughter running upstairs. She started walking 2 months ago, and now she's sprinting. Oh, how the time flies. She is 17 months old today. 17 months old today, my wonderful Lily. So smash that like button, share this live stream so we could get it out to a lot more people. The more people that press like, the more people that will see this live stream. The more people that comment, the more people that will see this live stream. You get the drill. And we'll have some public service announcements a little bit later also. So there is that. Let me read comments. Oh, Tony D already got his United Corporations of America shirt. Wonderful. Somebody's I don't know why there's Obama ads running before the videos. That's really bizarre. We don't control, of course, YouTube ads here. Anyway, I digress. Let me just retweet. Okay, so Morning Joe this morning. I didn't watch it live because I don't want to wake up that early to be upset by the corporate drivel on my television. But Morning Joe latched on to a poll that has Joe Biden kind of doing a lot better than he previously was. I believe it was a Reuters poll to be exact. So I have a bunch of clips here. I'm going to kind of start and stop. But boy, was this, shall I say, delusional of the corporate gas bags on the Morning Joe set this morning. Let's start with the first clip, Colin.
All breaking Joe Biden's way. I mean, if you look at the top of Drudge, if you're Trump, you probably would jump off the Brooklyn Bridge. I mean, because he's like MAGA meltdown and talking about all the polls breaking in Joe Biden's way. But they are. I mean, the trend lines are pretty strong for Biden coming out of still coming out of the State of the Union.
Yeah, if you look back at that first, the overall number, you see Joe Biden since January within the margin of error, kind of at the same spot. If we can look at that first one, there it is. Mm-hmm. What you also see, though, on the bottom is erosion for Donald Trump. And Donnie, that's part of what the Biden campaign is counting on, which is you see a little bit more of Joe Biden. Yeah. You look at the data, you look at the numbers. Inflation number wasn't great yesterday. We'll get to that. But really, the more Donald Trump is out there, the more he's railing, the more he's in a courtroom, the more you saw it in this number about the hush money trial, which is also an election interference trial, the more the public sees of Donald Trump, the Biden campaign hopes, the less it wants to see him back in the White House.
Yeah, and something in that poll just is something that I just want to reiterate for people out there who say to me, you know, this hush money thing, it's good for Donald Trump. It makes him look like the victim. No, seeing him sit in a courtroom every day and seeing him every day in the news and hearing is not helping him. I could never understand that logic, how somebody who is under indictment for a felony charge and is about to face trial, somehow that's good for them. So it's not, and the numbers show that. And if you look.
So I want to address this. First of all, I don't particularly know which polls they're talking about, because Joe Scarborough, who it's been reported is on the phone with Biden all the time. He doesn't share that on his show, but Joe Scarborough apparently is on speed dial with President Biden. But this is one poll. Most polls I've seen, particularly in the swing states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Georgia, Arizona. Arizona might change after that horrendous abortion decision by the state Supreme Court that basically set Arizona back to the 1800s and a total abortion ban. We'll get to that in a little bit. Nevada, I could go down the list. Most of the swing state polls over the last few months have had Trump up, and some of them Trump up by 6 or 7 points. It seems that Morning Joe found a poll that has Biden doing better and then created a narrative that this is a trend line of Biden doing better. I haven't seen that many polls where Biden is doing better. I've seen most of the polls that Trump is beating Biden, particularly in the swing states. But Donnie Deutsch, who's some millionaire advertising exec that Morning Joe has on all the time, Donnie Deutsch is claiming that Trump sitting in a courtroom on the Stormy Daniels case, which jury selection starts next week. That's the one where his campaign in 2016 paid her off, the porn star, basically to make it go away so that it wouldn't come out before the election that Trump had an affair with this porn star, yada, 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 that this is somehow going to hurt Trump. I don't really see any evidence of that. I think the case that would actually hurt Trump if he was sitting in a courtroom before the election would be the January 6th case, because at least in the midterms, in exit polls, the midterms 2022 election, the exit polls showed people did care about democracy and the risk, even though we don't have a real democracy, which I always say, we live in the United Corporations of America. People did kind of care about democracy, threats to democracy, et cetera, et cetera. During a January 6th trial, Trump would be sitting in there with cable news, newspapers, digital media outlets, all of them rerunning, the January 6th footage, which, by the way, we were the first ones live on January 6th. If you remember, John Farina, our video journalist, was live from the Capitol on January 6th. He got the infamous footage of the police officer's head rammed into the door that YouTube, i.e. FuTube, took down. They took down our live stream, which I've addressed over and over again, claiming we, the journalists covering it, were, quote, advancing false claims of election fraud. If they wouldn't have taken down that live stream, Colin, what would you say? With that live stream now, we had 30,000 live viewers at one point. My guess is that would have probably, by this point, had 5 to 10 million viewers, and we would still be collecting residual revenue from it.
Oh yeah, easily 5 to 10. And yeah, once it reaches a certain viewpoint, then yeah, it gets exponentially more money over time. So I can't even figure out how much money that would be lost.
Yes. So thank you, YouTube. Are you in mourning? You're in the dark.
I forgot to turn on my light, honestly.
Okay, you should talk to someone about that. So anyway, basically, Donnie Deutsch, listen, is it a good optic? Is it a good optic that Trump would be sitting in a courtroom? No, but I don't particularly think the porn star case is the one that's going to really move public opinion. It was known Donald Trump had affairs on multiple wives. It was known Donald Trump was a creep. It was known Donald Trump was at the Playboy Mansion over and over again. He still won the presidency. So I think Donnie Deutsch is maybe overestimating this particular case, which jury selection starts next week. will move the needle. But wishful thinking among the limousine liberals. We'll continue with this clip, but please smash that like button, share this live stream. The more people that press like, the more people that will see this very live stream. Oh.
This trial, he will be convicted. I don't think there's any question about it. And if you listen to that, that spins off about a quarter of the Republicans. That's a big number.
So he's saying he's going to be convicted on the Stormy Daniels hush money case, and the polls show that would remove a quarter of support for Trump among Republicans. There are polls showing that if Trump gets convicted, he would lose support. I'm just not sure it's going to be that case in particular, because that case is pretty straightforward. It's just it paid off this porn star. It's already been known for quite a while. I don't really see anything new coming through with this case. Again, the case that Donald Trump is really worried about for the election is the January 6th case. And I think the case that Donald Trump is most worried about of all of them, which I don't believe is going to be before the presidential election, is the classified documents case, because he's going down on that. And that's serious shit. He could be going away for a very, very long time in the case of the classified documents case. So, yeah, all around delusional nonsense from Morning Joe. They are trying to project and trying to magnify and make bigger one good poll for Joe Biden. And I hate to say it. I mean, honestly, I don't want either of these men as president, but I'm not sitting here jonesing for Donald Trump to win. But I also cannot sit here and, be like, yes, you're right. Joe-mentum. We'll get to that because that's what they called it. One good poll means Joe Biden's back in this thing. As of now, if the election were held today, I'd put, quite a lot of money down that Donald Trump would win the election, not Joe Biden. All right, let's play the next one.
Americans have a tendency to romanticize the recent past. And so I think now that they're seeing more of Donald Trump, and in this case from the Biden campaign, they're remembering just how awful that presidency was. And there's also just a slice of Americans who don't follow politics daily the way that we obsessively do. And now it's dawning on them, oh, he's not going away. He's the presumptive Republican nominee. And now they're really looking at their two choices. They're not looking at, Joe Biden and maybe somebody else. They're thinking, oh, it's going to be Joe Biden or this guy again. Yeah. I don't think so. And then the other element of this case in Manhattan is really let's remember about hush money payments to cover up, allegedly this affair he had with Stormy Daniels.
Sounds quaint at this point.
Sounds quaint. It sounds quaint. But again, I just think he's in court because he was covering up bad behavior about the way he treats women at a time when American women across the country, our rights are under assault, really, on abortion. And I think that those things are starting to converge because people are starting to look at Donald Trump and say, I don't trust him.
Yeah.
And he's a crook.
Huh? I mean, I don't trust Donald Trump, and he is a crook about many things. I mean, he hasn't paid half of his workers for the last 40 years. That's a known fact. Go talk to his contractors, his engineers. He stiffed people in Atlantic City. He did money laundering with Russia, with Russians through Russia, shall I say, and his real estate business. So he's definitely a crook, but I don't know. I recall something happening right before the 2016 election that showed Donald Trump was a creep, that showed he didn't respect women, that showed he's just a scumbag, barbarian, sweet in front of the ladies, and then in the locker room, talking about their, shall we say, locker room talk. Colin, do you have that to bring people, through memory lane?
Moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it. Whoa. I did try and fuck her. She was married.
That's huge news there.
No, Nancy. Yeah. No, this was marriages, and I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there, and she was married. Then all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look. I better use some Tic Tacs just in case they start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
Pull the hell.
I'm sorry. I don't condone this. I don't talk that way. I hope most men don't talk that way in politics, but they probably do. But what are these delusional people on Morning Joe talking about? That people are just starting to see that Donald Trump doesn't respect women? This came out weeks before the presidential election, and he won against a woman. Is new information worse than that coming out, particularly about Donald Trump and women? And you could say, sure, Jordan, but that was before the overturning of Roe v. Wade. That was before Donald Trump appointed three Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade. Sure. But again, what Morning Joe is trying to say, what the liberals and these neoliberal cocktail crowd people are trying to say is people are just being reintroduced to Donald Trump. Now it's Trump versus Biden, and it's really crystallized as Trump versus Biden. And the more people see Trump, particularly women, the more they're going to turn against him. They saw this, and he still won. They already know he paid off the porn star. And he's been leading in most swing state polls. Again, this is not something I'm gleeful about. It's not something I'm happy about, but this is reality. And I think this is, if you are a liberal MSNBC watcher, if you're a liberal New York Times reader, if you're a liberal Washington Post reader, and this is what you're thinking based on one good poll, and they're trying to tell you, oh, the Stormy Daniels trial, this is going to be it. Public opinion is going to turn against him. He's going to start going down in the polls once he's convicted. I got news for you. This ain't it. This ain't it. Now, if Biden actually did something for voters, if Biden put an end to the funding of this genocide now, if Biden did something or made some type of solemn promise on minimum wage, on health care, on climate, that if you reelect me, I'm going to do beep, 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 XYZ. I don't know if I trust him, but at least if he was promising to do certain things, maybe that would move the needle. If he would give more relief, he did just pass something through executive order that covers more people in terms of canceling student loan debt. That's a good thing. There are some good things he did, but it's a little too late. And inflation still stubborn at 3.5%. Groceries still very high. Those are the issues that affect most people directly. But these clips and, this delusion about, oh, this Stormy Daniels thing, that's going to be what moves the polls. Not so much. Let's keep going.
Be some people out there that are a little bit surprised by the numbers, the trend lines that are breaking in Joe Biden's direction. The Biden campaign, the Biden White House would be last on that list because even a couple of months ago when everybody was freaking out, Democrats wanted to jump off of buildings, they're like, he's not on the ballot. When people realize we're running against him, we'll be fine.
Dare we call it Joe-mentum? We probably shouldn't.
No,
But that's what they're calling it. But they
And they like to attack Chinese state television, Russian state propaganda. I mean, this might as well be the Democratic National Convention. Scrambled egg with scrambled eggs or sunny side up. Joe-mentum. Oh, God. Nauseating. Continue.
said that
Inflation
this is what they
3.5%.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Not yet.
That's the problem. So I was getting to that in a second. Right now, this is what the Biden campaign had forecasted, though. That they figured they knew that the president was going to take some hits during the primaries. Anger about Gaza, young voters, the uncommitted ballots that we saw in Michigan and Wisconsin. They factor that in. They know they're still going to have to deal with that. But as you said a moment ago, the more Americans saw Trump, they'd be turned off by him. That's been their theory of the case all along. As the Biden campaign steadily rolls out with huge fundraising advantages, opening up offices in battleground states across the country, promoting infrastructure and other bills, although some in the president's inner circle think they're doing too much of that. We noted Ron Klain yesterday. On being uncertain, though, what the criminal cases would lead. No one knows for sure what will happen.
By the way, what was the Ron Klain thing? It's just a bridge, really?
So Klain gave a speech the other night saying that the president has been too focused on infrastructure, and that was his flippant way of doing it about bridges, and saying that he needs to be more focused on consumer prices and costs. And yesterday, the inflation number suggests that maybe he has a point, but I think the White House pushback to that was immediate and said, well, look, the infrastructure, first of all, A, that's something Americans need, and B, it showed that we can get things done in a bipartisan fashion. That should be part of our message. We need to sell our record of accomplishment. We can't just say, hey, we're not Donald Trump. But they're not Donald Trump. And I think to Mara's point, the abortion headlines of the last week or so as well just really strengthens the president's case here. And it's and we're seeing Trump flail. We saw it again yesterday, trying to explain what he means.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, where do you even start? And please smash the like button, share this live stream, and please, 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 if you could be so kind, we need your super chats, we need your donations, and we need you to sign up as a member. Please, please, pretty please. I'll have some announcements on upcoming reporting trips and other stuff, but it all costs money. So if you can, super chats, donations are very appreciated. That's statuscoup.com/donate. Most importantly, statuscoup.com/join. Join as a member for $5 to $10 a month. That's how we keep the lights on and fund the on-the-ground reporting. Unfortunately, which I'll get into a little bit later, we're going to have to scale back things over the next few months unless we get a significant boost in member signups. So I'll explain that in a little bit. So a couple things here. Number one, when he just kind of like casually in passing, Jonathan Lemire said, you know, they knew they were going to take a hit when it came to the Gaza thing, this and that. They haven't taken a hit. They've taken a knockout punch. Biden is hemorrhaging young voters. Biden is hemorrhaging Arab American voters, particularly in Michigan, which many people think, particularly, election experts and pundits, the election could come down to Michigan. And if it comes down to Michigan, it could be 10,000 votes, 15,000 votes. Well, Dearborn, Michigan, parts of Detroit, Biden's down significantly. It's not some little road bump. Biden, continuing to write a blank check for a genocide that slaughtered over 30,000 Palestinians, most of whom are women and children. I think that number is an undercount. I think it's probably much higher due to, sadly, tragically, bodies that haven't been found. But this wishful thinking on the Morning Joe set, like, it was just, he knew they were going to take a hit, but they're bouncing back from it. In what world? I want to show you a clip. This is from one of John Farina's nearly 40 live streams he has done. Ceasefire Now protests that John Farina has covered in New York City and D.C. Nobody has covered more on the ground ceasefire protests than us, Status Coup, which also costs money. John Farina, which also costs money. Obviously, we're paying him. Those live streams, in some cases, he's gone live for 4 or 5 hours. That costs money because we went over our data plan. Getting a lot of things are costing money. So please, again, super chats, donations, membership. But I want to play this. This was a simple question. Do you think Biden is going to lose because of his support for Israel? Let's play these.
Excuse me. Do you think Biden's support for Israel will cost him the presidency?
I do think so. Absolutely, 100%. It's going to cost Biden the election. I think this is going to be the first year we actually see an independent president.
Oh, definitely. That's definitely where it's heading right now. I thought he had a chance of securing the presidency, but yeah, the way the polling is right now, he's losing Muslim Americans and honestly the rest of the country as well. So, yeah.
Yes, I think it will. Yes.
Oh my God, are you serious? I was at the mosque yesterday, Friday mosque. There was literature all over about the Green Party, and people were not supporting Biden. It's very obvious that he's lost Michigan. This is very obvious. I mean, it's so obvious. The amount of disrespect that he has given the Muslims, that he expects them to get a vote in return. A vote is earned. A vote is not just given away. A vote is like earned. I mean, it's so embarrassing. It's mind-boggling.
The younger generation supports Palestine. They don't support Israel. It's over for him. Every person that dies and every new person that's born, his support goes down. It's over.
Definitely, he's going to lose it this time just because of that. Right. We pick him as a president to be fair for everybody. But now he's just he lied. So I don't think he's going to win again. Absolutely. I mean, I personally, I voted for him. I was happy that he was the president, but now I'm definitely not going to win for him.
We're not voting for Joe Biden. You keep this up, you're going to lose this election. We need you to cease fire. Joe Biden is a murderer, along with Israel.
So that was weeks ago, and that was in New York. You could say, all right, but that's New York, Jordan. That's not Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Georgia, et cetera, et cetera. Trust me, it's not that. The sentiment is not any better in Michigan, which is a swing state. And it's not so much better in a lot of these other states, particularly among young people, Arab Americans, a lot of independent voters. So I don't know when Morning Joe, says, they knew they were going to take a hit. Well, that's not just a hit. It's a big, big, big voting block that they're losing. And I don't know where they're making that up. Maybe in their mind, they're going to make it up by catering and, trying to target Nikki Haley voters who didn't vote for Trump in the primary. Oh, you could try, but some of those might vote for RFK. Some of those might not vote. I don't know if there's enough Nikki Haley voters that will vote for Joe Biden to make up for all the young people he's lost, all the Arab Americans he's lost. Even if he called for a ceasefire today and stopped funding Israel, there might be a large portion of the young vote and the Arab American vote who say too little, too late. It's too much blood on your hands. So just seems like Morning Joe might be a touch disconnected from the populace. Let's keep going with another clip and keep those super chats coming. Keep those memberships coming. I saw somebody just gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll shout that out in a little bit. Please keep that support coming. We really, really need you. Let's play the next one, Colin.
I want you to listen to this Biden ad again. There's a line that hit me that strikes me as one of the stronger lines I've heard in political ads. Play this Biden ad again.
Because of Donald Trump, millions of women lost the fundamental freedom to control their own bodies. And now, women's lives are in danger because of that. The question is, if Donald Trump gets back in power, what freedom will you lose next? Your body and your decisions belong to you, not the government, not Donald Trump. I will fight like hell to get your freedom back. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
I don't know if I've ever heard that line where it actually was so grounded in reality. I will fight like hell to get your freedom back. What presidential candidate in our lifetime has been able to say, I will fight like hell to get your freedom back?
Right.
Oh, my God. It's like, and now let's air an episode of The West Wing while I get my Kleenex because I'm about to cry on set. That is so beautiful. He's fighting for our freedom. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, here's the problem with that. Colin, join me for a minute if you can. What's amazing to me, and I don't want to mansplain. I'm a man. I don't have a vagina. And of course, it is very, very important in a bad way. What is being done to female reproductive rights, the right to choose for women. And it might make a difference now in states like Arizona, which just, the state Supreme Court just tossed back to an 1800 law banning abortion. But here's the problem. Colin, do you hear anything in that Joe Biden ad? Are you hearing anything from Biden or the Democratic Party? Just how he's going to win back your freedom if you're a woman?
Especially since him and his previous administration with Obama is one of the main reasons that they lost that freedom to begin with. Like he's literally can be directly linked as one of the people to blame.
Like, again, I don't want to speak for women. So to be clear, but you correct me if I'm wrong, Colin. I think they're just banking on, if we remind people that Trump is the reason Roe v. Wade was overturned, they'll just vote for me. But that's not enough. I mean, again, I'm not a woman, but like, women want to know, how are we going to move it back where Roe v. Wade is the law of the land? I'm not hearing anything from Biden on how he's going to do that. He
Are they forgetting it happened during his?
Right. He's saying, well, we'll codify Roe v. Wade. Well, how are you going to do that? Can you explain it to women? Because as far as I'm concerned, the only way you can't do it as an executive order. You'd need an act of Congress. You would not have a filibuster-proof majority. That would be 60 votes. And he has already said over and over, he is not for replacing the filibuster. So how is he going to codify Roe v. Wade? It's nice if you are philosophically on the side of women, which I'll tell you in a minute. I don't think he genuinely is, but it's not enough just to say, well, Trump's bragging about taking your rights away. I'm for your rights. How are you going to give them their rights back? No answer.
I think they're banking on it being the same topic as COVID, where they can just repeat this over and over again. And when Biden takes presidency, he'll just continue whatever Trump was doing with COVID. And as soon as he gets president, he's not going to care about the abortion rights. It's his second term. It's not like he has to worry about re-election. So there's nothing.
Right.
He's on a campaign, if you notice, of doing a lot of last-minute things before his presidency to try and do anything except for stopping the genocide, but everything ancillary to that to just grab any voters he can.
And I think there's something to remind people. In 2022, when Democrats performed much better than was expected at the midterm elections, that was, I think, 4 or 5 months after Roe v. Wade was overturned. So it was still very raw. Also, Biden was not on the ballot. Neither was Trump. So it really just was a reaction with women and young people in particular. It really was a visceral reaction. We're going to revolt against the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade and the Republicans. But it's no longer that raw. I mean, for women being affected, perhaps it is. But overall, for the overall public, it's not like it just happened 4 months ago, and now you have Biden on the ballot with a blank check that he has provided for genocide. And now you have Trump on the ballot and all the bad stuff that goes with that. But there is no tangible here for American women. How, if I am speaking to you as a Democrat, if I'm speaking to you as Joe Biden, here's how we're going to make Roe v. Wade the law of the land. Here's how I'm going to do it. Here's my promise to you. I haven't heard that. If you have, please tell me. If you've seen a roadmap provided by Joe Biden and the Democrats, how he's going to revive Roe v. Wade and codify it. Because other than that, I don't think that's going to be the only thing women are going to be voting on. Of course, it might be one of the top things they're going to be voting on, but voters aren't stupid. They want to know, how are you going to do this? It's nice to talk about Donald Trump taking away my freedoms. How are you going to give it back to me? I don't really hear that. And boy, is it just me, or was Joe Scarborough about to weep? He was about to sit there and weep tears of his, role model, his idol, Joe Biden, and that beautiful, beautiful ad. Give me a break. Give me a break. Okay, smash that like button, share this live stream so we can get it out to more people. I want to move on to a, I think, equally cringe Morning Joe clip from the other day. Oh, wait, excuse me. I forgot something on this. Now, you could argue, Jordan, come on. You're bringing up something Joe Biden said from the 1970s. Yes, I am. Sure, you could say, well, Jordan, people evolve. Maybe he has evolved. But I want to remind you, this is what Joe Biden said in the 1970s as a senator. It's not the same thing as appointing 3 Supreme Court justices and then bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade. Donald Trump is worse on women's rights. There's no equivocation. Donald Trump is worse. But I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't remind you what Joe Biden said when he was a young senator and what I think he truly believes. Colin, if you have the link. Biden resents being called the bright young liberal of the new left. Quote, I hate that picture, he says, and I don't care how that damn Americans for Democratic Action rates me. Those ADA ratings get us into so much trouble that a lot of us sit around thinking up ways to vote conservative just so we don't come out with a liberal rating. When it comes to civil rights and civil liberties, I'm a liberal, but that's it. I'm really quite conservative on most other issues. My wife said I was the most socially conservative man she had ever known. I am a screaming liberal when it comes to senior citizens because I really think they're getting screwed. I'm a liberal on healthcare because I believe it's a birthright of every human being, not just some damn privilege to be meted out to a few people. Of course, 40 years later as president, he said he would veto Medicare for all. But when it comes to issues like abortion, amnesty, and acid, I'm about as liberal as your grandmother. I don't like the Supreme Court decision on abortion. This was in reference to Roe v. Wade, which was brand new at that time in the 1970s. I think it went too far. I don't think that a woman has the sole right to say what should happen to her body. Let me repeat. I don't think that a woman has the sole right to say what should happen to her body. I mean, again, you could say, Jordan, it was the 1970s. Let's not be unfair here. He's changed. He's evolved. Trump is worse. Okay. But this is what he said when he was a young senator. He has said he's personally not in favor of abortion, but from a political perspective, he does not believe it should be decided by government. But I think it's valid what he said, his true belief, when he says a woman should not be the sole decider on what she does with her body. I'm about as conservative as your grandmother, he said. One of the few honest things he's probably said in his political career. Moving on, Nancy Pelosi was on Morning Joe the other day. We reacted to some of what she said, but there's a part of her interview that I thought was particularly pretty vile, if you ask me. Colin, let's play Pelosi.
You see the stakes. What do you say to even some of those progressives who are protesting at your house, outside your house, saying we're not going to vote for Joe Biden because of what he's doing in Israel? What do you say to voters who may be shaky on Joe Biden about the stakes of this one-on-one matchup?
Well, I don't know if they're progressives outside my house. I don't even know who they are outside my house. But in terms
protesting his handling of the war, yeah.
Yeah, but I know my protesters. I've represented my district a long time. I got the biggest vote of any Democrat in California. They said, oh, you're not reflecting your district. No, I got the biggest vote of any Democrat in California. Some of these people I don't know who they are. Some are the usual suspects, but largely they are, I don't know what they are. But nonetheless, for those who are saying that, oh, you want Donald Trump of Muslim ban fame? You want Donald Trump who says he wants people coming from nice countries? You want Donald Trump who's anti-LGBTQ, anti-women's right to choose? You want Donald Trump who was standing in the way of the Republicans in the House of Representatives for giving humanitarian assistance to the Palestinians to the tune of billions of dollars? What is their agenda? Some of it is spontaneous, sincere and real and organic. Some of it, I make a distinction between AstroTurf and grassroots, and some of it is AstroTurf. So who benefits from it? Donald Trump. Who benefits from Donald Trump? Putin. There's, in my view, a connection there.
First of all, no disrespect to our friends in San Francisco, but her voters in San Francisco, I'd say, skew more liberal, upper class than capital P Bernie left, progressive. So when she says, I know progressives, they vote for me and the biggest numbers ever. Yeah, those are kind of snooty liberals in San Francisco. Sorry to say. There are lefties in San Francisco, but they're not exactly Nancy Pelosi voters. Most of them are upper middle class, highbrow, limousine liberals. But I have to say, and I don't really think this is rocket science. If you live in Dearborn, or if you live anywhere, and you have family members in Gaza, and you have 5, 10, 15 members of your family in some cases that have been killed by Israeli bombs, in many cases that are U.S. bombs that have been provided to Israel. If you have family that's still alive, but in refugee camps, in tents, in Rafah right now, are you going to be thinking about that Donald Trump called for a Muslim ban, or that Joe Biden is the one funding this? And that's not to take away from Donald Trump and his clear bigotry. Donald Trump and his clear embrace of Islamophobia. Donald Trump and his clear xenophobia. This is not a false equivalence. Donald Trump is horrible. And I think if Donald Trump were president, the same exact thing would be playing out in Israel, perhaps worse. And I don't even think Donald Trump would be putting out, the platitudes and the, empathy and sympathy that Joe Biden is. And I don't even think Donald Trump would care if humanitarian aid was getting in. I think we'd have pretty much the same outcome, but Donald Trump would be just more open about it. Wipe him out. Let's get the job done. Let's go after Hamas. But at the end of the day, if your family is being killed, you're not, and Joe Biden is the one overseeing it. Joe Biden is the one providing the check for it. But Trump is not something you think about. But Trump is not something you're going to that's not going to register in your mind because your family has been murdered. Does she not understand that? Maybe but Trump worked for a lot of things. Maybe they were able to misdirect and divert the subject and distract the masses on many things and say, but Trump's worse. But death is death. There's no but Trump if your whole family is wiped out. And Joe Biden is the one who's provided the check. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not understanding something. But Trump, he's anti-LGBT. What does that matter to someone who's lost 10 loved ones in Gaza? That doesn't mean they're going to vote for Trump, but that's not an argument to make to someone whose family is being slaughtered or whose family is under attack. But he's anti-LGBT? What? My family has been slaughtered. And then adding in, but Putin. It always goes back to Putin, doesn't it? So I got to say, listen, I think people have short-term memories in this country. You got to remember, Joe Biden did not win the 2020 election by some landslide. Donald Trump got more votes in 2020 than he got in 2016. I believe he got 174 million votes. Joe Biden got 180 million votes. Sorry, Tanny, stop the steal. People watching. Joe Biden won. Get over it. But on the Electoral College, he didn't win. I think Joe Biden won Wisconsin by 20,000 votes, if memory serves me correct. Pennsylvania was 80,000. Michigan was 150,000. Georgia was less than a point. Arizona was less than a point. So Donald Trump pretty much lost because he was horrendous on COVID, badly mismanaged COVID. We were in the throes of COVID, the horrors of COVID, and people were going to vote for a paper bag over Donald Trump. But in most people's mind, COVID is over. In reality, it's not over. Unfortunately, it's still raging. The media and the government have just done a psych op and convinced people it's over. It's not over, unfortunately. But I don't see. I guess I do see. I think these people are old. They're vile, just incredibly wealthy, which brings with it being totally disconnected. But yeah, if you think all these people in Dearborn, parts of Detroit, other places that are having whole generations of their family massacred are going to be convinced when you tell them, but Trump ain't going to cut it. Smash that like button, share this live stream. I will read super chats in a little bit. Want to take a few phone calls. Won't be able to take that many because I got to go watch the baby soon, but I'll be able to take some of them. Let me start it. We can take your calls on just about anything. So feel free to send in your phone calls. Let me get. All right. Colin, I think you have what you need there. Smash that like button, share this live stream. We got almost 200 people watching on the live on YouTube. We need to get way more people watching. So smash that like button, keep the super chats coming, and please sign up as a Status Coup member. Before I get to the calls, I just want to remind you of something, and I sent out a Substack article on this earlier today. Very, very, very important. So please pay attention. I don't want to get so in the weeds. You could read what happened on the Substack. Again, you could join our Substack for free. Essentially, several years ago when we started Status Coup, we urged you to sign up as paying members to our website. Unfortunately, a lot of people did sign up to our website. For anyone who cares, we were using WordPress and a plugin with WordPress. Back then, we got hacked. And we lost a lot of member payments. So when that happened, we launched a brand new members website that fortunately for over 2 years we've had it, we've had no issues with. But we still had some people, about 400 or 500 people that were still signed up to our original members site. So in English, it left us with 2 sites where people could sign up as members. Since 2021, people have been signing up with our brand new member site, and we've had no issues with payments or anything like that. But we still had about 400 people on the old member site. Recently, there was some kind of glitch. We don't really know what happened, but there was a glitch, and we lost almost 200 payments, monthly payments. To be clear, your financial information is fine. It wasn't compromised or anything like that, but the payments just got canceled, and we can't manually restart your payments. That's a major issue for us. If you're a small independent outlet, if you lose nearly 200 paying members, that's a major problem. Major problem, particularly in terms of funding on the ground reporting, funding freelancers, funding everything. So bottom line, if you are someone who signed up through our original site, you might have had your payments stopped without knowing it. And I'm assuming you still wanted to support us as a member. Now, you might have no idea. Jordan, I don't know if I was signed up through the old site or the new site. How do I know? Have no fear. We sent out an email earlier. We'll put the directions in the community tab on our YouTube. But basically, all you got to do, check your email. Colin, come on for a second to tell them. There was an email we sent out on April 9th, correct?
Yes, and so just check your spam, or if you missed it in general, I just linked this Substack in this Substack. You can click here to see that email, like a web version of it. So don't worry if you missed it or something like that. So just go to our Substack and check it out. And basically, the long and short of it is just when you look at this, if you fall under those dates and the cancellation, you just go to statuscoup.com/join and sign up, and now you'll be on our new website, new member system, and never have to worry about this again.
Yes. So we'll put the Substack article link in the super chat. Click on it. If you haven't read it yet, it'll give you what happened, the directions. And if you have in your email box an email from Colin, that means, and if you don't see it in your email box, check your spam. It should have came on April 9th from us. If you have it, that means your membership was canceled. Please re-sign up on our new website, statuscoup.com/join. If you have any questions or you're confused, email us, info@statuscoup.com. All right, phone calls. Let's see what we got. Tony.
Oh,
Hey there.
hello.
Hey,
Hey, thanks for doing the call-in again.
no problem.
I wanted to ask a question about your book on Flint. Do you think the release of this book is going to bring more attention to the problem in Flint from establishment media and politicians and liberals, people who otherwise might not know or care about this?
Oh man, I've honestly had some sleepless nights thinking about that exact question because obviously that's why I wrote it. First of all,
Yeah.
I think that for the people that read this book, obviously I'm biased because I wrote it and it's all the information is stuff I found out. But I think that the stuff that's revealed in this book is so explosive and is so fucking rotten and so scandalous that if it doesn't get more attention, then there's nothing more I could do as a journalist. We just have a corrupt media system. Because if this stuff is ignored, because I would say a good 50% of the book is stuff that's never been out there before and is all brand new, then it's all for naught. And if it doesn't involve Trump or other bullshit, it's not going to get picked up. I do believe, obviously it's early. The book's not coming out May, June, July, August for another 4 months. But, obviously I'm going to have some type of strategy to get attention on it. It's coming out in August. It's coming out in August, which in some ways is bad because it's the dead of summer and people are kind of checked out. But in some ways is good because it's the dead of summer and there's not unless there's a brand new war, which it is America, so maybe there would be, but generally is a slower time in the news, so there's not going to be that much more competition. So I am hoping, both through my book agent that has some connections in mainstream media. I don't have the money to hire like a PR publicist, but just through getting on various independent outlets, I'm hoping through pieces that I might do before that, teasing some parts of the book, that I could at least get, some Michigan media attention. I'm also hoping to do book events. I reached out to Michael Moore. I'm waiting to hear back if he'll do an event with me. I reached out to Erin Brockovich. She said she would. So I'm hoping just through buzz, book events, getting on independent outlets. I'm going to go for every outlet known to man. I'm going to try to get on Joe Rogan, which I've already tried to get on. I never gotten a response, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try for the Breakfast Club, try for whomever I can. I'd be lying too if I knew the answer because, I wouldn't have to write. I would have never had to write this book if the mainstream media gave a damn, right? But I'm hoping it will because there's a lot of really scandalous shit that's exposed in the book. So,
are there things that you haven't mentioned on air before?
Yeah, lots.
Great.
Yeah.
Honestly,
as I was writing it, I was still digging. So like there was a lot of times when the publisher said like, all right, last edits, this, last call, so to speak, you can't add more. And I sent in like the final manuscript and then I found something really big and I was like, sorry, I need to add this. And they, but yeah, there's stuff in there that I have not mentioned. No.
I'll look forward to that, and I'll get a copy. Since
Yeah.
my brother's birthday is in August, so I'll get him a copy.
Oh, thank you. And honestly, there's a lot of incredible books out there and stories out there that the mainstream media didn't latch onto. A lot of times books, sadly, are highlighted in mainstream media, not based on the story, not based on if it's important, but just based on who you know. I mean, Morning Joe, half of Morning Joe, since we were just talking about Morning Joe, is their pals, and them just having their pals on with their recent books. Same thing for like, Larry King back in the day used to just have, whomever interested him or whoever he was friends with. The View. I mean, it's all one big circle jerk, and it's a lot of the same people they have on to promote their books. So in many cases, listen, would I like to get in mainstream media? Yeah. But I mean, real talk, it would be much more consequential if I got on Joe Rogan than CNN,
Yeah.
And I'm not even someone who loves Joe Rogan, and I would tell him to his face, I think he's done a lot of, troubling. I think he said and, platformed a lot of questionable people. But I'm not going
He
to,
has.
if I could get on him, I'd be an idiot not to do it. But,
Mhm.
listen, who knows? Who knows? Maybe I could. Maybe it will get some mainstream attention. I hope. But I'm going to try, every a variety of things. I do have a friend who's in publishing, so she's going to help me just kind of like with the strategy. Hopefully, book events get some buzz. We have a documentary that's coming out soon on the 10-year anniversary.
Mhm.
So, but all I could say, whether the mainstream media covers it or not, is I could sleep well knowing I've done everything humanly possible and then some to get attention on this story. As humbly as I could say it, I believe my efforts are why anyone talks about it at all anymore. Because if not for us continuing to go back there, if not for the stories I've broken over the years, I think it would be a long memory by now. So,
Yeah.
that's the deal.
All right. Thanks. That's awesome. I look forward to the book.
Thanks, man. All right. Next caller. I don't know your name, but it's Tina and healthcare. You wanted to talk about healthcare.
Hi, it's Fiona, whichever one is fine.
Hey there.
Hi. So, I'm not going to take a lot of time. I just really want to implore everybody to make sure you understand your state-funded healthcare system. Even if you're 19 years old right now, you need to understand it because you're going to need it one day unless you are incredibly, incredibly wealthy. And there are companies out there that work for state-funded healthcare that try to keep those services out of your hands. I happen to work for one of those, hopefully for not very long, but I just want to let everybody know that it's really important. I'm way far away. I don't have a disability. I'm not anywhere near 64, 65 years old, but I know the system. I decline, or I am not supposed to give services to people, but I do. I see declined people every day, and it's really sad. And I just want to say that. So that's about it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you brought up a lot of important points because as important and as much as the focus has been on federal universal health care, on a state level, it's just as important. Knowing your rights and what you're covered with. I assume you've had personal experience with this.
No, I work in the industry. I work for one of the companies that that takes healthcare out of your hands.
I got you.
Yeah. So that's my only connection to it. Is that I am on this. I happen to work for the bad guy, and it is heartbreaking to have to tell someone that they're not going to get in-home services when they cannot help themselves in the bathroom because they make a couple $1,000s too much. It's just heartbreaking. And that's why it's really important to know, unless you're just independently wealthy and you know at 65 you're not going to need a nursing home.
Right.
Get to know the system.
And you want to know something? There's a lot of people like you that work for the bad guy, not because you're a bad guy or a girl, but a job's a job. But I appreciate that at least you try to do the right thing within a pretty fucked up system.
Well, so it's clear. I'm going back to preschool teaching, so I won't be here long. But yeah. But thank you so much, and thank you for what you do and everybody. Okay, bye
bye. So that was Fiona, and listen, I've interviewed people and I've talked to activists who work in the fossil fuel industry, and on their own time are trying to basically get rid of fossil fuels. I've talked to people in the healthcare industry. I remember I talked to, what state was that? it's all a blur. But I just did an interview a couple weeks ago with healthcare workers that were being screwed by the healthcare industry, and they spoke out. So, yeah, it's really, really horrible. It's really, really horrible how we had that moment, so to speak, the Bernie moment, 2016, which all the hope, all the love, all the energy, and all the feeling of possibility that went on in that movement at the rallies, all over, campaign headquarters, volunteer headquarters, just that possibility, that feeling of, holy shit, maybe we can fucking peel back this corruption. Maybe we can get rid of this horrible, immoral, unnecessary middleman, which is the private healthcare industry. And then again in 2020, when it seemed even closer. And now to kind of regress to the point now where we're not even talking about a public option anymore. Biden ran on a public option, which I knew was bullshit. And he hasn't mentioned it since he became president. Hell, during COVID, the Democrats' magic answer was expanding COBRA, which is the biggest scam known to man in the healthcare industry. For those of you that know, because I've had it, if you lose your job, you can keep your health insurance from that employer by paying out of the ass for COBRA. So you could keep your health care from your company that you're no longer with if you pay, I think it was something crazy, like $600 a month for COBRA, while still paying your copays and all that from your job that you lost. That's what Democrats' magic plan was during COVID, expanding COBRA. Because, remember during the Democratic primaries and, well, we need to protect the wildly popular, sacred, private healthcare, employer-based healthcare plans. Yeah, no. Just crazy, crazy, crazy. And I got to tell you, politically speaking, it's not a lot of, I'm not going to lie to you. There's not a lot of hope to rally around. You hear AOC, the squad members, moving the needle on Medicare for all. You hear them even talking about it. Do you see a strategy from the squad or anyone else in Congress? No. That's why I have put a lot of my focus, and we have put a lot of our focus in covering stuff outside of electoral politics, like the UAW strikes last year. I actually reached out for an interview today to try and interview somebody down in Tennessee, because the Volkswagen workers in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I interviewed them probably 2 or 3 months ago as they were beginning their union campaign to try and unionize with UAW. If you don't know, because the mainstream media isn't covering it, there's a lot of non-union auto plants, particularly in the South, Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, among others, that are right now have union campaigns to try and get a vote to join UAW. And Chattanooga, Volkswagen in Tennessee has their union vote next week. This could be a major, major thing. One of the first non-union auto plants in the South to unionize with UAW. Not sexy. It's not a sexy story. It's not going to be covered on mainstream media, but this is how we actually develop worker power in this country. Sadly, it ain't coming from AOC and the squad. And hopefully, if we could unionize more of these non-union auto workers and then unionize other sectors of America, then we could start moving the needle towards Medicare for all, unions fighting for Medicare for all, which I think might come down the road. I would love to be wrong. I would love for a Bernie-like figure to come forward with actual balls, who's not going to bow down to his friend Joe Biden, who's going to fight and go after their jugular, because I think that person could win. Frankly, I wish Cornel West and Jill Stein were not both running. I think Cornel West, as much as I love him, made a mistake leaving the Green Party. I think if he would have stayed as a Green Party candidate, he could be doing a lot better in this election and be more of a factor as a third-party candidate. But I think Cornel West and Jill Stein, both running together, are kind of pulling from each other's already limited votes, unfortunately. So that's where things stand with that. All right. And ending the call session, we'll do Monday. Let me read some super chats. Brenda, $5. Again, if they're not criticizing both parties, they're bootlicking for one. which is so infuriating, whether it's MSM or other people. Thank you, Brenda. Andalon de Bagshagal, $2. I definitely mispronounced your name. Sorry about that. Hi, new member here as of last night. Thank you for signing up as a new Status Coup member. Really appreciate it. Tony D, $5. Someone should rob TYT and give you their money. That money should go towards real journalism rather than reactionary nonsense. Thanks for the call-ins. I'm not advocating for robbing TYT, and I don't even know how that could happen because they're not like a bank. But to TYT members who are funding TYT, hey, you support whoever you want, but if you want to support an old, past his expiration date shock jock and his increasingly, I think, cringe catering, wink, wink to the right co-host as they just bloviate out of their assholes versus supporting actual living, breathing, investigative, on-the-ground reporting, that's your choice. I would support us. Thank you, Tony D. Emily gifted 5 Status Coup memberships. Holy cow. Thank you so much, Emily. Thank you. And by the way, we appreciate everybody who signs up, and including our YouTube members, because you can sign up through YouTube. I will say though, as I'm telling, as I made that public service announcement to the members who were signed up through our old member site, who just through whatever glitch happened, your memberships were canceled. As I'm encouraging them, please, like I'm not beyond begging, re-sign up to our new membership site. I will tell people who are signed up as YouTube members, our preference is for you to sign up through our website, because God forbid, what happens if YouTube one day kicks us off, which they've done to quite a few channels. Then we're kind of fucked, because Colin, how many YouTube members do we have? Probably like 400 or so.
I'm actually not sure, but yeah, something around there.
So if they kick us off, we don't have your emails. YouTube doesn't give it to us. We just have your screen names. So that's a nice way of saying, if you want to remain a YouTube member, have at it. But if you ask me, sign up to our website, statuscoup.com/join. You could sign up at $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, or $179 annually. And once you're signed up to our website, you could get rid of that YouTube membership. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I would rather have as many of you as possible as members through our website. That way we have your information, we have your emails, and we control it rather than YouTube, Patreon, or whatever. And knock on wood, the member website that we created in 2021, we've had no issues with payments or anything like that. It's been going through seamlessly. But thank you, Emily, for the gift of 5 memberships, which I think is random. Colin, how do those people who she gifted membership to get it?
It said in the chat who got it. So you just you'll get probably a notification or something.
Got it. All right. Thank you again, Emily. Tiffany, $9.99. After Israel bombed Iran's embassy, Biden says he'll support Israel if they go to war. I'm guessing that will lose him more votes from people who don't think this is our war to fight. You got to love that. How Israel bombs Iran's embassy, and then we come out and say, if Iran responds to a terror attack from Israel, we will support Israel unequivocally. So Israel could just go around bombing people's embassies and we'll just, to our deaths, support them. Again, follow the money. Who is Biden raising money from? His campaign co-chair is Jeffrey Katzenberg, a Hollywood bigwig and a major pro-Israel Zionist. One of Biden's biggest donors is Haim Saban, billionaire who stole the Power Rangers from Japan. One of the biggest donors over history to Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, all Democratic Party candidates, and Joe Biden. Massive, massive, massive pro-Israel Zionist. I could go down the list. Most of Biden's biggest fundraisers, who are also members of his campaign as co-chairs, Israel could do no wrong. So there's kind of a reason why Biden is contorting himself into a human pretzel to continue aiding and abetting with a blank check Israel's war crimes. Alex, $9.99. Can you go over the subscription email? My renewal went through 2 days ago. Am I okay? Sorry to ask mid-news. Love your work. All right, let me simplify it. If anyone is confused, just go to your email. See if you got an email from Status Coup dated April 9th. It's in your if it's not in your email inbox, go to spam. If you don't see it in your email inbox, if you don't see it in spam, then you're good. You're probably a member through our new site, and you're good. You don't have to do anything. If you see that email in your inbox, if you see it in your spam, that means you were one of the people that was signed up to our old member site. And that means, unfortunately, your membership was canceled. We still don't know why. Some type of glitch. So if you got an email from us dated April 9th, I think it said it's Status Coup. We need your help as a subject. Just read that email. And basically, we just need you to go to statuscoup.com/join and re-sign up. That's all. If you have any more questions, email us at info@statuscoup.com, info@statuscoup.com. Tiffany, $9.99. Liberal on amnesty? In what world? Also, if he cared for women and children, he wouldn't be unconditionally funding the genocide in Gaza now. Thank you for your work. He was saying he's not liberal on amnesty, just to be clear. He was basically saying, I'm not liberal on abortion, amnesty, and something else. But you are 100% right. We can't just think about women in terms of reproductive rights. We should be thinking about women in terms of Gaza, the economy, immigration. I mean, women, just like for Latinos, their only issue is not immigration. Just like for Black people, their only issue is not voting rights. And just like for women, their only issue is not, abortion. And the majority of the deaths in Gaza have been women and children, unfortunately. Sarah R., how is the pre-sale going for your book? I hope great. That is a great question and probably something I should have asked the publisher, right? I have no idea. I'm going to ask them. But I think it's going decent because I see a lot of people saying they pre-ordered it, but I'll have to ask the publisher how many people have so far pre-ordered. I'll let you know my next show. David Hunter, $5. Sean Fain was at the White House presidential dinner a couple of nights ago. Is Sean playing nice or is he selling out? Listen, I'm a big Sean Fain fan. I ain't going to lie. Wasn't in love with him being at the State of the Union, standing up and pointing at Biden like, thank you. But I get it because in reality, whatever you think of Biden, the truth is Biden, for the most part, stayed out of the UAW fight with the big three. He did not put his thumb on the scale. He did not throw his body on the scale. He did not try and force the UAW to take a shitty deal, which is what past presidents have done, not just with the UAW, but other unions over and over again. And the past presidents would say, live to fight another day. This is going to hurt the economy. Biden, for the most part, let the UAW, let Fain handle it. And that's why Fain and them were able to hold out as long as they did and apply more and more pressure and keep the big three off their toes. So I don't think he's selling out. I think he's paying Biden back politically for Biden, showing up on the picket line in support of the UAW, which to me was a photo op, but a historic photo op. If we're being honest, no president has done that. So I think it's more paying him back. I don't think he's selling out. I'll think Fain is selling out when I start seeing him tell workers to take shitty deals, when I start seeing him take his foot off the gas. He hasn't taken his foot off the gas. Right now, the UAW is in the midst of one of the biggest organizing campaigns they've ever done, which is trying to unionize all of these non-union auto plants. Like I said, there is a union vote being held next week at the Volkswagen in Tennessee. So I don't think he's selling out. It doesn't make me happy to see him palling around with Biden, but Biden did show up at the picket line. Trump showed up in Michigan at a non-union place and basically called Fain an asshole. And, so between Biden and Trump, Biden did more for them. There's no question about that. No question about it. Also, $36 donation from Bonnie. through statuscoup.com/donate. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Bonnie. Also, new members are Roxanne and George signed up as new Status Coup members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Reminder, please, if you do one thing tonight, go look if you got that email from us, dated April 9th, from Status Coup. If you did, that means you were a paying member and your membership got canceled. I don't know what happened. I do know your payment information is secured. Nothing was compromised. But if you want to keep supporting us, and I really hope you want to continue supporting us, we need you to sign up to our new website. So check if you got that email. If you got the email, again, check your spam if you don't see it in your inbox. And if you did get it, please sign up to our new website, statuscoup.com/join. Also, we got our Flint documentary coming out for the 10-year anniversary, which will be coming out. I believe we're going to be releasing it on the 10-year anniversary, which is April 25th on Breaking Point's channel. So hopefully we'll have a lot more eyeballs for that. We're also going to have a custom website for it. So it'll be released on Breaking Points and we'll have a website for it. Ty is working on it really right now. I'm very proud from what I've seen so far. This documentary is based on a trip I just took to Flint and many interviews I did that you didn't see any of them because we recorded them, and past clips of my reporting from previous years. Also, I will be back in Flint for the 10-year anniversary, which is April 25th, and we'll probably do some other stories, in the Midwest while I'm on the road. So if you want to, we got to pay Ty to make this documentary, and it ain't cheap. He's not cheap, to be honest. Even though he's giving us a discount, it's still, we have to pay someone to make a documentary, and it costs money to go back to Flint and other places. So please, I ask you, I beg you, please sign up. Also, starting this Sunday, I believe, we're going to start doing some weekend call-in shows to try and fundraise. So this Sunday, I will be live in the afternoon, probably around 1 or 2 o'clock Eastern time while my daughter is sleeping. So put it in your schedule for this Sunday. I'll be live. We'll be taking calls and trying to raise money and sign up new members because we have to outwork everyone else to be able to fund and keep the lights on here. Thank you for watching. We will be live tomorrow covering another ceasefire protest. I'm not sure what time it starts. I think around 4 or 5 o'clock Eastern, but John Farina will be live from that. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.